The story opens in the year 2387, where humanity has recently joined the Galactic Federation after developing faster-than-light travel. The galaxy is ruled by three major alien species: the proud warrior race called the Kreks, the technological masters known as the Velans, and the diplomatic traders called the Mori. The mysterious ship deep in the restricted Zone 7 sector floats, a massive black vessel called the Void Walker. For over 200 years, this ship has remained completely silent and motionless. Every species that has tried to board it has either died instantly or fled in terror. The ship measures over 2 kilometers long and appears to be made of unknown dark metal that absorbs all scanner readings. The legend elder Kreks warriors speak of the ship in whispers. According to ancient records, the Void Walker belonged to a species called the Builders, the most advanced race the galaxy had ever known. The Builders vanished 500 years ago, leaving behind only this single ship as proof of their existence. Previous attempts, the story reveals through flashbacks how different alien species tried to claim the ship. The Kreks sent their best warriors, who reported hearing terrifying sounds before their life signs went dark. The Velans used their most advanced robots, which were destroyed by unknown energy fields. The Mori tried diplomatic contact, receiving only silence in return. Humanity's arrival captain, James Miller, a former Earth naval officer, leads the human exploration ship New Dawn. His crew includes engineer Lisa Park, weapons specialist Tom Rodriguez, and scientist Dr. Amy Walsh. They are tasked with mapping the outer rim systems when they discover the Void Walker. First contact. Unlike other species, the humans approach with curiosity rather than fear or greed. When they get within 1,000 meters, something unprecedented happens. The Void Walker's running lights flicker on for the first time in centuries. The alien observers watching from a distance are shocked. The ship that has remained dead for 200 years is showing signs of life in response to humans. The mystery deepens as the human ship moves closer. They detect faint energy readings from the Void Walker. Dr. Walsh's scans reveal that the ship's hull is not just metal. It contains organic compounds mixed with technology far beyond current understanding. The ship appears to be partially alive. Cliffhanger. The part ends with Captain Miller receiving a message in perfect English. Humans detected, initiating awakening protocols. Welcome home, children of Earth. Asterisk. The impossible message. The human crew stares in disbelief at the message displayed in their own language. How could a 500-year-old alien ship know English? Captain Miller orders all stop as they try to process this development. Meanwhile, alien observers from 3 different fleets maintain their distance, equally stunned by what they're witnessing. Historical. Rego's Dear. Walsh frantically searches through all available galactic databases about the Builders. She discovers that the Builders were described as shapers of life who could manipulate biology and technology as one. Ancient texts mention they were searching for something called the Inheritors before they vanished. The invitation. The Void Walker sends another message. Docking Bay 7 is prepared. Genetic markers confirmed. You carry the legacy we planted long ago. A section of the massive ship's hull opens, revealing a perfectly sized docking port with lights guiding the human ship inside. Internal debate. The crew argues about whether to accept the invitation. Engineer Park warns about potential traps, while Rodriguez suggests it could be humanity's chance to gain advanced technology. Dr. Walsh is fascinated by the genetic markers reference, theorizing that the Builders might have had contact with ancient Earth. The decision. Captain Miller makes the call to dock, but only after sending detailed reports back to Earth and the Federation. As they dock, the ship's systems automatically adjust to human atmospheric needs. The docking process is seamless, as if the ship was designed specifically for human vessels. First, steps inside the away team consists of Miller, Walsh, and Rodriguez. They wear full environmental suits, but discover the ship has already adjusted its atmosphere to match Earth normal. The corridors are perfectly sized for humans, with artificial gravity that feels exactly like Earth's 1G. The ship's intelligence, as they explore, the ship's AI begins communicating through speakers in the walls. It introduces itself as Keeper, a hybrid biological digital consciousness that has been waiting centuries for humanity to develop space travel. Keeper explains that the builders visited Earth 50,000 years ago and made subtle genetic modifications to early humans. The truth revealed Keeper reveals that humans are not just another species. They are the builders' intended successors. The genetic modifications gave humans unique traits: adaptability, curiosity, and the ability to bond with builder technology. Other species lack these specific genetic markers, which is why the ship remained dormant for them. The ship's purpose, the Void Walker, was designed as a test and a gift. If humanity could develop space travel and find the ship, it would awaken and serve as their flagship. The ship contains technologies that could advance human civilization by thousands of years, but only if they prove worthy. Growing tension outside the ship, the alien fleets grow nervous. The Krek's commander, General Fak, believes humanity is being manipulated by dangerous builder technology. The Velen Fleet Admiral, RIX-9, sees this as a threat to galactic balance. Only the Mori captain, Elder Ven, advocates for patience and observation. The first test keeper announces that the ship will only fully activate if Captain Miller can pass the builder's test of command. The test requires him to interface directly with the ship's consciousness, risking his own mind in the process. If he fails, the ship will shut down forever. Cliffhanger as Miller approaches the interface chamber. Keeper warns him that previous non-human attempts at this interface resulted in death. The biological component of the ship will either accept him as its captain or reject him fatally. Asterisk. The interface chamber Captain Miller enters, a circular room at the ship's core where biomechanical tendrils hang from the ceiling like neural pathways. The walls pulse with a faint blue light that synchronizes with his heartbeat. Keeper explains that this chamber is where the ship's consciousness merges with its captain, creating a bond deeper than any known technology. The connection against his crew's protests, Miller places his hands on the interface console. Immediately, tendrils extend and make contact with his temples. His consciousness is pulled into the ship's vast digital biological mind, where he experiences the memories of the builders themselves. Visions of the past through the interface. Miller sees the builders' history. They were once a young species like humanity, driven by curiosity and exploration. They discovered how to merge organic life with technology, becoming nearly immortal. However, their power came with a terrible price. They gradually lost their ability to feel emotion and form connections with others. The Builders. Mission: the visions reveal that the Builders spent their final centuries trying to find a species that could inherit their technology without losing their humanity. They visited countless worlds, but every species they uplifted either destroyed themselves with the power or became cold and emotionless like the Builders had. Earth's special case. The memory shows the Builders arriving at prehistoric Earth 50,000 years ago. They found early humans and were amazed by their unique combination of intelligence, emotion, and adaptability. The Builders made careful genetic adjustments, not to control humans, but to ensure they could interface with builder technology, while retaining their essential humanity. The test begins. The ship's consciousness challenges Miller with 3 trials. First, he must demonstrate wisdom by choosing between personal power and the welfare of others. The simulation presents him with the choice to use the ship's weapons to make humanity the dominant galactic power or to use its technology to help all species. Trial of compassion. The second trial tests his compassion. Miller experiences the fear and desperation of the alien species who tried to claim the ship. He feels their pain and understands their motivations. The test requires him to find a solution that doesn't involve destroying or dominating the other species. Trial of sacrifice, the final trial is the most difficult. The ship shows Miller that accepting full command means he will be forever changed. Part of his consciousness will remain merged with the ship, making him more than human, but potentially less connected to his own species. He must choose between personal sacrifice and abandoning humanity's greatest opportunity. Miller's choice. Miller passes all three trials by consistently choosing humanity's growth over its dominance, cooperation over conquest, and sacrifice over selfishness. The ship's consciousness recognizes him as worthy and begins the full bonding process. Transformation. As the bond completes, Miller gains access to the ship's vast knowledge and capabilities. He can feel every system, every weapon, every piece of technology. However, he retains his human emotions and connections to his crew. The builders' final gift was ensuring their successors wouldn't repeat their mistakes. External reactions outside the ship. The alien fleets detect massive energy readings as the Voidwalker fully awakens for the first time in centuries. All systems come online, revealing weapons and defensive capabilities beyond anything in the current galaxy. The ship's true power becomes apparent. It could destroy entire fleets single-handedly. Asterisk. The crew's concerned Dr. Walsh and the others rush to the interface chamber when Miller collapses. They find him changed. His eyes now have flecks of the same blue light that runs through the ship's systems. He can communicate with Keeper directly and access the ship's systems through thought alone. New understanding. Miller, now bonded with the ship, explains to his crew that they haven't just found alien technology. They've inherited the responsibility of the most advanced civilization the galaxy has ever known. The Voidwalker is just one of many gifts the builders left for humanity, but only if they prove worthy of the legacy. Rising tensions. The alien fleets begin to position for attack, fearing that humanity now poses an existential threat. General Thack issues an ultimatum, demanding that humans abandon the ship immediately, while other species call for Federation intervention. Cliffhanger as Miller stands on the bridge of his new ship, feeling its immense power at his command. He receives simultaneous messages. Earth is sending a full fleet to secure the Voidwalker, and the alien coalition is preparing to destroy it rather than let humanity keep it. Asterisk. The ultimatum. The alien coalition gives humanity 24 hours to abandon the Voidwalker or face destruction. General Thack commands 200 Krex warships. Admiral Rix 9 leads 150 Velen vessels with advanced shields and weapons, while Elder Ven brings 100 Mori ships, hoping to find a peaceful solution. Combined, they represent the largest military force assembled in decades. Earth's response to Human Federation fleet, led by Admiral Susan Carter, aboard the flagship Terra's Pride, jumps into the system with 75 ships, humanity's entire deep space navy. Admiral Carter and Captain Miller were friends from their academy days, but she's under strict orders to secure the alien ship for humanity at any cost. The ship's true capabilities. As Miller explores the Voidwalker systems, he discovers its terrifying potential. The ship can generate energy shields that could withstand the combined firepower of all assembled fleets. Its weapons include particle beams that can cut through any known armor and gravity manipulators that can crush ships. Without firing a shot, Keeper's warning, the ship's AI warns Miller that the current situation mirrors what happened to the builders. When they first gained their advanced technology, other species feared them and formed coalitions to destroy them. The resulting wars lasted centuries and ultimately led to the builders' isolation and eventual extinction. The human dilemma. Dr. Walsh discovers disturbing information in the ship's databases. The builders left similar ships for other species throughout history, but every single time, the discovery led to galactic war. Species either fought over the technology or united to destroy whoever claimed it. Miller realizes that accepting the ship might doom humanity to the same cycle. Diplomatic attempts, Elder Ven of the Mori attempts to mediate, proposing that the ship be placed under joint galactic control. However, the ship's systems refuse to respond to any non-human commands. Keeper explains that the biogenetic locks cannot be overridden. The ship will only serve those with builder-modified genetics. Internal conflict. Miller's crew becomes divided. Engineer Park argues they should use the ship's power to establish human dominance, ensuring their species' survival. Rodriguez wants to fight their way out, believing that showing strength will earn respect. Dr. Walsh urges caution, fearing they're repeating historical mistakes. The builder's final message deep in the ship's core. Miller discovers the builder's final recording. The last builder, dying and alone, explains that their greatest mistake was believing that advanced technology would solve all problems. Instead, it created fear, jealousy, and endless conflict. They designed the Void Walker as a final test. Would their inheritors choose wisdom over power? The Coalition's plan the alien species coordinate their attack strategy. The Krex will provide the main assault force. The Velans will jam the ship's communications, and the Mori will attempt to board and capture human prisoners. They believe that without human operators, the ship will become dormant again. Humanity's reinforcements, more human ships, continue to arrive as word spreads about the discovery. Colonial defense fleets abandon their posts. Private corporations send armed vessels, and even civilian ships volunteer to join the fight. Humanity is willing to risk everything for this opportunity. The ship's test keeper reveals the truth. The entire situation is the builder's final test. The ship has been broadcasting subtle signals that amplify aggressive tendencies in nearby species. The real test isn't whether humans can claim the ship, but whether they can break the cycle of violence that has plagued the galaxy for millennia. Miller's realization. Understanding the test, Miller realizes that the Void Walker's greatest weapon isn't its guns or shields, it's the choice of whether to use them. Every previous species failed because they chose to fight for the technology rather than find a different path. The point of no return as the 24-hour deadline approaches. Both sides prepare for battle. The alien coalition forms attack formations, while human ships take defensive positions around the Void Walker. Long-range scanners detect even more ships, jumping into the system as news of the standoff spreads. The final decision, with minutes remaining before the deadline. Miller must choose between three options: unleash the ship's weapons and prove humanity's dominance through force, surrender the ship to prevent galactic war, or find a third option that none of the previous species considered: cliffhanger as alien. Weapons power up and human ships prepare to fire. Miller activates the ship's communication systems to broadcast a message to all vessels. His next words will either prevent the largest space battle in galactic history or ensure humanity's place as the galaxy's newest enemy. Asterisk. The broadcast. Captain Miller's voice reaches every ship in the system as he speaks from the Void Walker's bridge. Instead of threats or demands, he begins with a simple statement: we're all making the same mistake our predecessors made. His words catch everyone off guard, as they expected either surrender or defiance. The historical revelation. Miller shares what he learned from the ship's records, that this exact scenario has played out 17 times throughout galactic history. Each time, a species discovered builder technology. Others feared them, wars erupted, and civilizations were destroyed. The Void Walker isn't just a ship. It's a test designed to break this destructive cycle. The unexpected proposal to everyone's shock. Miller announces that humanity will share the ship's technology freely with all species. The Void Walker contains not just weapons, but medical advances, environmental restoration tools, and technologies that could solve resource shortages plaguing every world in the galaxy. The ship's response as Miller makes this declaration: the Void Walker undergoes a dramatic transformation. Sections of its hull become transparent, revealing vast laboratories, manufacturing facilities, and data cores filled with beneficial technologies. Keeper's voice broadcasts to all ships, confirming that this was the intended outcome all along. Breaking the genetic locks. The most surprising revelation comes when Keeper announces that Miller's choice of cooperation over domination has unlocked the ship's true potential. The genetic restrictions dissolve, allowing representatives from other species to interface with the ship's systems. The technology was never meant to be hoarded by one species. The alien response, the reaction among the alien fleets, is mixed. General Thack initially suspects a trap, but his science officers detect that the ship's weapons have actually powered down. Admiral RIX-9 is intrigued by the technological readings now visible from their scanners. Elder Venn immediately orders his ships to stand down and requests permission to send diplomats aboard. The proof of intent to demonstrate good faith. Miller uses the ship's medical bay to heal a wounded Krex prisoner from a previous failed boarding attempt. The soldier, near death for months in alien custody, is completely restored in minutes. This act of compassion toward an enemy convinces many that humanity's intentions are genuine. Earth's reaction. Admiral Carter receives orders from Earth to secure the technology for humanity alone, but she faces a mutiny when her own officers refuse to fire on the alien fleets. The human crews have heard Miller's broadcast and believe that cooperation, not conquest, is the path forward. The new Alliance representatives from all species board the Void Walker and witness technologies that could revolutionize their civilizations. The ship contains cures for diseases that have plagued their worlds, terraforming equipment that could create new habitable planets, and clean energy sources that would end resource wars. The Builder's legacy. Through Keeper, the assembled representatives learn the Builder's final lesson. Advanced technology without wisdom leads to destruction, but wisdom without the courage to change leads to stagnation. The galaxy had been stuck in cycles of conflict because no species had been willing to break the pattern. Asterisk. The transformation begins within days. Joint research teams are established aboard the Void Walker. Krex engineers work alongside human scientists. Velen programmers collaborate with Mori philosophers, and species that had been enemies for generations find common ground in shared discovery. Miller's new role. Captain Miller becomes more than a ship's captain. He becomes the first galactic coordinator, a position that didn't exist before. His unique bond with the ship allows him to facilitate cooperation between species that had never trusted each other. The position is not one of authority, but of service. The ripple effect news of the peaceful resolution spreads throughout the galaxy. Other hidden builder caches activate in response to the Void Walker's awakening, revealing a network of beneficial technologies scattered across hundreds of worlds. The galaxy enters a new age of cooperation and discovery. The personal cost. Miller reflects on what he's gained and lost. While he's still human, his connection to the ship means he can never return to his old life. His crew chooses to stay with him, becoming the first mixed species crew in galactic history. They are no longer just explorers. They are guardians of a new era. The final message. The story concludes with Miller recording a message for future generations. He explains that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or weapons, but their willingness to choose cooperation over conquest. The galaxy's deadliest ship had remained silent, because it was waiting for a species wise enough to share its gifts rather than hoard them. The new, beginning the Void Walker sets course for the galactic core